A few months ago, when I first started making these videos, I became aware of an app called Twin. Now, Twin was kind of like a pixel guide style walkthrough tracker that allowed you to bookmark websites and download images to use as maps. However, it's just undergone a massive rebrand and added loads of new features. So, welcome to GameTwin. This is GameTwin, and it's a very handy little app that allows you to add your walkthroughs and your images and track your achievements, and even make your own little checklists so you can keep track of your games. As well as that, it also serves as a way to manage your apps and your emulators from within the app itself. Okay, let's dive into the setup. So if we look at the first point of call, as always, should be our settings. So we've got our look and feel options. So there's, oh, that's a bit bright. There's some different themes up here. Oh, that console one. It's got a kind of Fallout 3 vibe to it. All sorts of different colours. Oh, God, there's absolutely tons. Dark and white ones. Whatever takes your fancy. I think just for this, I'll stick with the default because it's probably the easiest on the eyes. We've got our different fonts here. There's a JetBrains one for you IDE developers out there. And then there's Gothic, Space, Pixel, Courier, and just the system. I think the system font's fine. It's the most readable. Now we have this adaptive accent colour. Now the accent colour affects, obviously, like you can see here, the little toggles. And I have noticed it's also affected the LEDs on my Thor there. So that does seem to change. It says it extracts it from the cover art, so we'll see how that works in theory once we start loading some games in. It does have some nice haptic feedback when you navigate using the controller as well. You can adjust the strength of that. I'm just going to leave it on medium because it's fine. So I've got navigation sounds enabled, but I can't. Oh, the volume is down. That might be why. I think they're very faint. I just turn the volume up a little bit, maybe. Oh, there we go. We've got some nice clicks there, nothing too obnoxiously loud. We've got different art styles, so you can have your fan arts, your logos, your grids. I think I quite like the fan art personally, so we'll stick with that. Some scaling. We'll show game titles as well. The controller hint bar, which usually hovers kind of around here, just to give you an indication of how you can interact with it. And this adaptive LED control. So this is what I mentioned a moment ago, where basically as the accent colour changes, the LEDs will change as well. Or they do seem to have gone back to kind of pale yellow, which I think is like the default colour. Auto game detection. So one of the features I like about this is what it'll do is if you've played a game on a front end, for example, ESDE, Cocoon, or anything in RetroArch, what it'll do is automatically load it into the system so you can boot it up and then get your guides or your achievement list or whatever information you've saved, a map, for example, a trophy guide. So from here we can set our sources. So we've got different sources about detecting the games. So I've already set my RetroArch folder, but I can also set my ESDE folder as well. I'll just set them all, just so if I ever, which I tend to do, jump between front ends, then it'll just pull through the most recent one. I've been using a Cocoon a lot recently, so we'll leave it on there. Auto detect the launch games. Obviously, if you boot into a game, then it will pick that up. Auto create games. Oh, I see. So if you've not created one already, it will create one. If you've already got one and launched it, it will pull that one through. Asset detection. Now, I did notice that it does detect your media from ESDE and Cocoon. There are custom search paths, but also in the artwork scraper, I did notice before that there is a default Steam Grid and GamesDB key. So even if you haven't got your artwork yet, it should still scrape them. There we go. So it's finished detecting them and it will link them. So I've signed in with my retro achievements and my put my Steam profile in there. Not too sure how it uses the Steam API yet. We'll find out. And then you can also So when you set this up originally, it'll ask you to select a folder. So I just made a GameTwin folder on my root storage, and that's where it's going to keep all the necessary system files that it needs to access, or artworks, things like that. So that's about it for the settings. So hopefully if I go back, can we detect the last game I played? Which it says was Metal Gear Solid, which might be true. Although I feel like maybe the hero or the fan art wasn't the best thing. So I'm just going to change that. Do I have to refresh this? Ah, there we go. Oh yeah, so it's very adaptive. So it's gone for this really bright red on the LEDs there. I'd probably like something a little bit more subtle, but what are you going to do? So the way GameTwin works is, or originally when I first discovered it, it was called TwinLore, and it was basically it was kind of similar to Pixel Guide. So if I open up the Metal Gear Solid, I can go to GameFAQs, and you can basically bookmark guides once it's verified that I am in fact the human. So you can select a guide from here. We'll just go for that most recommended one. And then it should... Oop. Press download. There we go. Not really sure what happened there a moment ago, but you can see it saved a nice little text version. So you've got a nice, easy to read guide there. What this paint bucket does. Oh, so you can apply and disable the theme that we set in the settings, and also we can adjust the font size, which is always very handy. You can search, so obviously you can search for a specific boss fight or something, and then there's also a little bookmark option here, so you can basically set bookmarks within the page, which is always very nice. And then we've got, it seems to have auto detected some chapters there, although it didn't seem to get them all. So it could be looking for some very specific text. So it's using a lot of the dashes, but are they not all formatted like that? So yeah, some of the formatting does seem to change for this, although... So that could be an issue with the guide, I think, the way it's not formatted properly. But on the bottom here, you can see we also have images. So you can save things like screenshots, or if you are using a game that requires a map, for example, and you need that quick map reference, you can save them here. So you can add a file, you can upload one, you can use a screenshot. So you could... Oh, what have I done there? I've just taken a screenshot. So you can actually use the built-in screenshot feature to, when you're playing the game, just take a quick grab of the map. You can search for full map. So if you wanted, that's a Metal Gear 2 map. So obviously most of these are based on just finding the correct guides on Google. So it would be nice if, for example, with a GameFAQ search that I did a minute ago, if it automatically went to the page of that game rather than having to manually go and click through. So we can assign app IDs for Steam games. So if you're someone who uses Game Native or Game Hub, then you can use that. We have a checklist, which is always very handy if you're a bit of a trophy hunter. So you can add sections, like test, if you played a test game. And then in those sections, you can add items. Great for collectibles. So if I just do 1, 2, and 3. And it's good because you can obviously collapse these as well. So I can say, oh, picked up item 1, picked up item 2, and you get this nice little percentage counter in the top as well. And I think I can do... Yeah, you can do them all at once as well by tapping the top level category. And of course, you can just delete, and then that will automatically update. Back to our achievement section. If I just press auto assign, will it... No, don't look at the Steam line. All right, I wasn't. So I'd actually press the Steam thing. So I think it can help you look for Steam achievements. So retro achievements, there we go. Will it find Metal Gear? Yep, there we go. So it's found Metal Gear Solid. It's found my feeble attempt at playing retro achievements on Metal Gear Solid, which I don't think I've done for a while. This is some of the basic features that it had when it was originally launched as Twinlaw or developed into GameTwin. But one thing that they've recently launched, and the reason I wanted to cover it today, is we have this option. So if I just tap up here in this little rocket ship, we are now able to download emulators and apps from within the app itself. So this could serve as an ultimate companion app. So this uses, as it says at the top, the RGNY. So rather than having to download Obtainium and then get the RGNY pack yourself, you can just download this and install it, and it'll do all that for you. You've got options here for the single screen or dual screen. I believe you just refresh it. I don't know if it has an auto refresh or not. So you can see here we've got everything that's included broken down by categories. So I do believe it is very up to date, because I can see there the Retro Achievements offline proxy, which was only added 2 days ago. I think it was added to the RGMY pack. So it's good that you can just get that live list. I don't know if it will handle the automatic updates similar to Obtainium. I don't know if it will alert you to updates at all. But it's good to know that you do have this kind of unified app. And then here, obviously, you have an app launcher. So it has gone from being kind of a pixel guidey like companion app to almost a full-fledged launcher. So it says there. So I've got these two pinned at the top. I don't know if they're game specific, because I can't unpin them. So the fact that says Metal Gear Solid, I'm assuming it's game specific. So if I pin, say, my file browser and maybe Google Chrome as well. So it's nice that you can pin apps on a per game basis if you have specific apps you might want to launch alongside it. So all in all, a good app. I do like it. It's going to be very handy. Oh, I like this view. That's the refresh view. So yeah, all in all, a very good app. I think my main concern for apps like this, and for a lot of front ends as well, and just apps in general across the tech sphere, is feature creep. So like I said, when this launched originally, it was just a way to bookmark guides, and the scope of it has grown. Now, it does seem to be working, and it does seem very, very handy. If you're using something like Mjolnir, where you can have your two separate launchers, then this would be kind of ideal for bottom screen. So what I'll do is actually, I'll just flip this over to my dual screen display, and then I'll see how this looks on the bottom screen. So here it is on the bottom screen, and as you can see, you could have your emulator or something up top, and then you can have anything you want down here, which is very handy. It could be a great little app launcher. But like I said, my main concern will be the readjustment of scope. And I know a lot of front ends do kind of find themselves a little bit of getting caught up in the hype as such. So that a lot of people say, oh, can you add this feature? Can you add this feature, this feature? And then obviously because of AI-assisted coding tools and things like that, it's a lot easier to add these features in. But you don't want everything to be built on a bit of a house of cards where you end up neglecting the solid foundations of the app in favor of kind of chasing the hype a little bit. So that was GameTwin. Definitely an intriguing app, and definitely one that I'll be keeping an eye on. My main concern is if the features in the app continue to grow and grow and grow, I worry that it might collapse under its own weight. However, I'm intrigued and impressed with what I've seen so far. I just hope that we and other apps in similar spaces focus more on polishing the little things and making the app feel stable and perfect. If you like this video, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.